In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make cheese and onion pasties with short crust pastry. We've got some flour, we've got an onion, we've got some grated cheese. This will make our filling, and we've got some lard and butter cut into small blocks. As far as you can, try and use butter, because margarine sometimes has a lot of water and then it makes your pastry quite sticky and difficult to use. If you would like to use a different filling than cheese and onion, you can pre-make the filling at home. Make sure that it's cold and you can bring that into class. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to cut your onion, so that we are using the claw and bridge techniques to cut our onion. So here we use the bridge. Cut through. I'm going to cut off the end, but you are not cutting off the root. If we keep the root on, it stops our eyes from burning. Okay. Oops. Okay, all ready to cut into small pieces then. Once again, we're using our bridge to cut in the length across, and then we use our claw right up to the root, and then the other one as well. Bridge and claw. Right, that is our onion done. We are now going to do our pastry. Also remember to preheat your oven. Okay, so here I've got my flour, and you are going to use the rubbing in technique to rub the butter and the lard into the flour. So take a couple of minutes. You use your fingertips to do this. You do not want to squash the butter into the flour in your bowl, otherwise you're going to end up kneading it and you're going to end up with a whole big clump of flour, and you're going to end up with breadcrumbs. So we are using lard and butter. Lard gives a bit of a more crisper, crumblier texture to your pastry, so you want to use the lard. This will take about 5 minutes for you to get this done. And we are going to use ice cold water, water from the tap, but make sure it's cold, and that is what you're going to add. You could make the pastry in a food processor. That obviously will be much quicker. So you can do it in there as well. Never use the palms of your hands, because it's day hot and that will melt the butter. Do not over rub. It needs to look like fine breadcrumbs, but if it starts clumping together, you can stop rubbing in. use a big enough bowl. You can see I'm missing on the sides a little bit. I should have used a bigger bowl. Okay. Now I'm going to carry on and add my water. But I'm going to use a knife to stir it through to prevent it from becoming sticky. My hands might be a bit too warm. Right, I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, so I've got my water. It's about 50 milliliters of water. I'm not going to put in everything at once. Just going to stir it through. You can see it's coming together when I squash it a bit with my knife. Get my hands in there now. You want water in here because the water is going to help to develop a bit of gluten that will give the structure to my pastry. So I'm not mixing, I'm not kneading too much. I'm literally pressing it together with my hands. So here's my pastry. Just a few kneads and it is now ready to be rolled out. I am going to put a bit of flour on my work surface to prevent it from sticking. And then I'm going to roll it out so that I can cut out a circle. You want it about 5 millimeters thick. I'm going to use a saucepan lid to cut out my shape. Okay, so here's my round, about 5 millimeters thick. I'm going to put my onions and my cheese in there. In fact, I'm going to put a bit of onion. My onions on the edge, you put it towards the end. And then I'm going to add my cheese. You're going to take a bit of water and take your finger and just put it around the edge. So it would stick. Okay, now we want to bring that edge to meet on that edge. So we're going to bring it over. Going to have to stretch it a little bit, but make sure that the filling doesn't go onto the edge. I'm going to turn it around so you can see. So it's got there on the edge. Now what you can do is, you can do two things. You can either do something called crimping the edge, which you turn over, you turn your dough over and press it down, crimp it like that, like it looks like a Cornish pasty. Right, or you can take a fork and you can press it down. Or you can do that. Or the crimp. Okay, now this is ready to go into the oven. Put it on a baking tray. We are going to make what we call a little steam hole so that the steam can escape. And we are also going to glaze it with our egg. So that is ready to go into our oven. Our end result, the pasty has a nice golden brown color. You would see that the crimping obviously will result in a different effect to where we just used our fork. I baked it for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. If we cut it in half, you can see that the cheese is nicely melted and the onion in between there.